All right, everybody, welcome to the Wellness Cafe, First Friday's Wellness Cafe. I'm Maria, and along with trainer Lauren, we've been hosting this, I think it's about a year or so. Every month we have a different topic, and today we get the honor to have trainer Lindsay take over the floor and go over the Ayurveda 101. So this is a topic we brought in a few months ago, and it's been a lot of interest in bringing it back. And I know that Lindsay's working one-on-one with members through the SIG series on this. And with the change of seasons upon us, we thought it was topical. So thank you, Lindsay, for coming back in and giving us another great overview of Ayurveda. And don't know if Lauren is here, but if Lauren's here, feel free to unmute and say hi, Lauren. Otherwise, I'll be running the slides here in Connecticut, and Lindsay over in Nevada is going to do the presentation because we are good at that stuff here at VFit. Lindsay, welcome, and I'm going to mute the others. So we ask if you do have questions, you can throw them in the chat, and we'll take questions at the end. I think that might be better so Lindsay can kind of flow through the presentation. I think that's it. So again, welcome everybody. And Lindsay, I'll make you a co-host. Here we go. Take the floor, my dear.
Yay. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So Marie, are you going to switch the slides for me, right? Is that how it works? Okay. Great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I so appreciate Maria and Lauren asking me to do this today, because this can be a complex topic and one that maybe we don't know a lot about. So when even the word is like, what? How do you say that? So I just wanted to come in today and break Ayurveda down as best as I can, just get to the basics of Ayurveda. So the idea today is that basic Ayurveda principles and how we can relate them to our health and well-being. So we'll go to the next slide. Thanks for everybody for being here. I'm so excited and nervous, my tummy. All right, but we're good. Let's see. All right, so we'll start with Ayurveda, the word. So the word is a Sanskrit word, and how it's pronounced, how I remember it, is Ayurveda. So Ayurveda. You can repeat it to yourself a couple times just so you start to get comfortable on the lips, and try not to say it without thinking about how it's spelled, because that will throw you off. Just think about that Ayurveda. And it is easy to get tongue-tied with that. So Ayus means life in Sanskrit, and Veda means knowledge. So translated together is knowledge of life, or science of life, or life knowledge. Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old medical system from India and is still practiced today. Millions around the world still practice this system. But 5,000 years old, that is just amazing. All right, next slide. So Ayurveda treats the whole person. It's a holistic approach, restoring the whole body back to its original state of balance. So keyword balance here, and well-being. Ayurveda addresses all actions, another keyword, actions, an individual takes from conception to death, so our whole entire life. Some of these actions lead to well-being, others lead to suffering and dis-ease. So I just wanted to talk about that dis-ease word for a moment. When we think about dis-ease, we think of probably the worst of the worst, right? Well, when we break this down, the dis and the ease, it can be more of a minor thing going on in the body. So anything that maybe makes us feel discomfort. So that could include anything like digestion. If we get an upset tummy over a certain food, that could also include that dis-ease. So we can take it in different levels with that word. So it's not always the extreme. It could be very minor with that. So these actions also include how we utilize our senses. So our 5 senses. We'll go ahead to the next slide. We're going to do a little exercise here with our senses. So this beautiful picture of the ocean, hopefully everybody's been to the beach. If you haven't been to the beach before, you can think of a lake, but we're going to think about being at this beautiful spot right here. Or we're going to think we can just close our eyes and just imagine. Yeah, let's everyone close our eyes here for a moment and just imagine. We're going to visualize for a moment that we are at the beach or a lake or our favorite body of water. And just take a moment and breathe here. And we'll start with our sight. So what do we see when we're at the beach, when we're at the ocean, our favorite body of water? What do we see? We see open space, maybe a bright blue sky or a setting sun. Maybe we see birds, seagulls flying overhead, palm trees swaying. And now think of the sounds. So what do we hear when we're in nature, outside at the beach or a lake? What do we hear? We probably hear the water, the best sound ever. We can sleep to that sound, right? The sound of the waves crashing. Maybe the sound of the wind in those palm trees, or the birds squawking above. And now let's think about what we smell. So especially being at the beach, it has that distinct smell, that salt water smell in the air. You can instantly smell it when you get close. So imagining those smells. What else? Seaweed. Sometimes you can smell that funky seaweed. Maybe sunscreen. And then think about our taste. So we almost taste that salt that we smell, right? When we're at the beach, or even you kind of taste that humidity, that moisture in the air. And then our touch. So what are we touching when we're there? Sand, usually maybe within our fingers, we play with the sand, or underneath our feet, our toes. That feeling of the water coming up and over your feet as you walk on the sand. So our touch. And I'll go ahead and open the eyes. Ah, that was so nice going to that place with you all. Can we go back there? All right. And then this is a beautiful picture from one of the San Diego beaches. Swami's, if anybody knows those beaches down there. So this is just a pretty picture. We all maybe need to go there. So taking the senses, oops, next slide. I'm doing it myself. Next slide. So talking about the senses and relating them to therapies of Ayurveda. So these are the therapies of Ayurveda. There's more than this, but this is just kind of the basic. So, oh, you do, Ashley? Ah, lucky. We need to come to your house. She lives right by Swami's. All right. So, so diet, one of the therapies of Ayurveda. Oh, yay. I'm glad that was relaxing. So one of the therapies is diet. So big one here. Nutrition, herbs, spices, but this is our taste, is our diet. Our sight is color therapy. So I always think of nature with this one. Art or culture is very good therapy as well, as a lot of us probably know. Sound therapy, I think about Dawn working those sound baths, Dawn L. That is wonderful, as well as music. Any kind of music can be therapeutic. As you probably know, you kind of gravitate towards certain types of music, but it can be very therapeutic. And of course, nature, the sounds of nature. I think I have nature in all these. And then aromatherapy, another good therapy. essential oils, incense. Ayurveda suggests the incense. Some like incense, some not. My husband dislikes it, so we don't always have it around here, but essential oils, and then also the smells of nature. Massage therapy, so that touch, it's where the touch comes in. Our rolling classes with Sherry, self-massage. What's big in Ayurveda is using the oils and doing a self-massage before or after your bath or shower. All right, next slide. So in addition to the therapies of Ayurveda, Ayurveda provides individual guidance and daily and seasonal routines. And this includes proper times to wake up and go to sleep, how and when to eat to assure that proper digestion and elimination. Also yoga, meditation, physical exercise, keeping the body moving. Also that mindfulness, that calming. And then when medicine is beneficial in Ayurveda, that we utilize herbs. Next slide. So this was just a quote I came across. This is a doctor from the Ayurveda college just up near me, actually. And I loved this because it's just basic and simple. Once a person gets out of balance, their healing journey begins. So anytime we're out of balance, there's that opportunity for healing. So it's basically always. Go ahead. So we're going to talk about the 5 elements of Ayurveda and start to get into the doshas here eventually. So the 5 fundamental elements of Ayurveda: earth, water, fire, wind, and space. And this beautiful sunset to kind of represent those. Beautiful, thank you. So 5 elements we're breaking down a little bit here and how to relate them to our bodies. So what we use earth for is that soil, that nourishment. That's how we grow our food. A big part of sustaining our health is that nourishment. Water, if you think of the water flowing, so we can correlate this with the blood flowing through our veins or anything that just kind of flows. You can think of other ways too within the body that happens. Fire, so our body heat, as well as our digestion. Ayurveda refers to our digestion as that fire. It's called Agni. And however strong our Agni is, that's how it's going to correlate with our digestion and how well we're digesting our food, is that Agni, that fire. And then wind, our breath. Wind, oxygen, carbon dioxide, that wind flowing in and out, as well as elimination. So the movement of everything coming out. And then space, which is space in our head, our sinuses, in our skull. We hold that space element. So next. And then this is where we start to talk a little bit about just us as an individual. This is our Prakriti. Prakriti, it's kind of a fun word to say. This is also known as our original creation. So this is established at the time of conception. All humans have their own unique constitution, and Prakriti could also be known as your constitution. So what you were born with from the very second you were conceived. In Ayurveda, there are 3 governing influences called doshas. So here we go into the doshas that make up our constitution. The next slide. So here are the 3 doshas, and these are 3 energies that make up the body and mind. And if unbalanced, they can cause ill health or that dis-ease. And again, that could be major or minor. These are the 3 doshas here: Vata, which is air, space; Pitta, which is the combination of fire and water; and then Kapha, which is the earth and water combination. So each dosha has qualities that influence the behavior inside our bodies. So again, we talked about that fire, that digestion, how we relate that fire to indigestion, as well as the breathing, the wind, and the movement, the elimination. And then the kapha provides that structure of the body, so that earthy component. All right, next. And then I love this book. I went back to the library yesterday to check it out again, and I've shared it with a couple of you I know that I've worked with, but I'll share this book, but it's called Practical Ayurveda. Aw, thanks, Sarah Z. So I took a couple pictures and put it in these slides because I love how breaks it down, this book. It's very, very basic, and it influenced this presentation today because I love breaking it down and making it simple. Because it has like really pretty pictures. So I'm a visual person, so that really helps me to learn. So here's our Vata. You can kind of read over this a little bit. But again, that Vata provides the movement as well as that stoking the fire. So the Vata is what stokes our fire, our digestion, and helps us with the movement of eliminating. So there's just a couple things here: providing movement, providing all sensation in the body, igniting that Agni, that fire, supports memory. Who is the author? That is, let's see, Sivananda Yoga Vedanta Center. I'll take a picture and share it maybe in the Fit Grid. I think that is just the author, is that yoga center. But yeah, I'll definitely get that to you all. All right, we'll move on to Pitta. Here's our Pitta. And this is that fire we're talking about. So it heats and governs the lower stomach and small intestine. So this is a big one in our digestion, as well as producing blood, providing intelligence and self-confidence. This is all about our motivation. This is where we get our determination and our motivation, as well as the eyes. It's a big, with the eyes, our sight. Yeah, and that kind of just talks a little bit more about the Pitta. Next, I don't want to go too fast if y'all want to read that, but all right. And then Kapha, again, the structure, provides the structure and fuel for the fire. So if you think about earth providing that fuel for the fire, if it wasn't for earth, we wouldn't have the fuel. So Kapha providing moisture as well. This is where we get our lubrication. Let's see, moisture, strength, so that structure, that cooling, stabilizing and lubricating the joints, and providing our taste. This is where our taste comes into play. All right, next. And then so we have it within us to heal our bodies, or our bodies are so intelligent that they heal themselves. So I love this quote: natural forces within us are the true healers of disease. We have it within us. We don't have to go external. We can provide balance in the body to help get us out of that disease. Next. And then so here we're going to talk a little bit about each dosha and when they're elevated. So when they are out of that balance, these are the common side effects, things that may come up if we have that elevated vata. So these are some of the things you might notice. And just take note that our society in general is very high vata. So we probably experience some of these already just by being in society. So it's a quick moving society. We have our screens that's very vata, and everything's quick moving. We're traveling, we're moving at this speed when we're in our cars, our planes. So that's very, very vata. So you could experience any of these just by maybe traveling or just being out and about or life. Next. And then here we go is our elevated pitta. This is one if you're maybe a little bit more on like the competitive side. That comes up a lot in pitta. I myself have pitta, so I'm kapha pitta. Those are always the ones that I'm working on balancing. So I'm elevated in pitta, mostly in the summer. So we look at the seasons too, which I'll talk about more next month, and I'll be doing a workshop next month on that. But we look at the seasons too. So in summer, I really have to look at these things and balance out my pitta, because it gets really hot and fiery during the summer. All right, next, and then kapha. And then kapha as well is one that I have to keep in check, especially in the winter. Right now, I experience probably a lot of these right now in the winter, because winter is a kapha season. So this is definitely something that I'm looking at balancing out myself, but you might relate to some of these as well, especially being in this season. Again, like being in our society, that vata is high. Being in the season, in whatever season you're in, you're working on balancing that in general, depending on your constitution. So again, our bodies are intelligent and have the ability to heal. So if we take the actions, big one, to bring that balance. So those are our key words, tying it back together here. And then, yes, that's it. To learn more about the Ayurveda and the doshas, you could take this quiz, joyfulbelly.com. That'll tell you what your dosha is or what you need to work on, whatever your elevated dosha is, and what you need to work on to bring that balance in. Also, you could book a session with me if you want to do a one-on-one and learn a little more. I'm also doing a workshop next month, part of Connect, with the seasonal Ayurveda. So we'll be talking more about just the seasonal stuff, which is so interesting to me, and I can really relate to. So that is all from me. I can relate to all three. If you all have any questions, please shoot them at me. So yeah, all three, if you relate to all three, yes. So I meant to say that we do have all three of these doshas within us. So we are going to relate to all of them. Again, depending on the season and our season of life as well, will elevate one or the other. So it's really, and usually we have like the one or two elevated most of the time, and those are the ones we need to focus on balancing. I would love to have you for a session, Lauren.
All right. Thank you so much, Lindsay. We have 8 minutes. We're honoring Lindsay's time, so we're cutting it right in 8 minutes. So if you have burning questions and you want to ask, you have 8 minutes live here. Otherwise, you can reach out to her afterwards, I'm sure, and set something up with her. So I did not read any chats, but just feel free to unmute yourself. This is how we do in Connect. It seems to work. Just go for it.
I have a cookbook that I recommend.
Yes. Ayurveda cooking for beginners. Yeah. I love that. Yes. So the recipes and nutrition in Ayurveda is like a whole nother presentation. There's so much that you can learn about the nutrition piece. So yeah, I love that.
I'm interested to know, how did you get into this? And you said there was a school for this. Did you attend classes on this?
Yeah, there's a whole school right near me, and quite a few schools. I know there's one in New Mexico. Is Blair here? Probably right near here, or her. There's quite a few schools around the world that train to you can become a counselor, or even like take it to a PhD doctor level. Ayurveda was a big part of my yoga therapy training, and what I really gravitated towards as far as my own health and keeping myself in balance. Because I really relate with nature and bringing that into our health, because it makes sense to me. So I really love looking at nature and relating it to our health and how we can bring balance. So it's been part of just like my personal journey, but I'm just more and more wanting to share it with others as I learn more and am able to. Now I have like personal experience that I can bring to the table here too. So
Lindsay, how have you seen it help you? In what ways?
The awareness. So especially with the seasons, and honestly, like I moved from Mammoth. I know a lot of you live in Mammoth. this being in seasons that actually have seasons now rather than snow 9 months out of the year. And I grew up in Montana too. So, I mean, my whole life I've been out of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. But the seasons have really, really helped me in my mental health. I actually even moved just to a place that has those seasons. And so that has been, I'm sorry, what was the question? I don't know where I was going with that.
Yes. How have you seen it help you? So you're
Okay.
saying like, because you experience 4 seasons, it keeps your emotional, mental, how does it help you?
Yeah, so I was taking it too. I tend to have that seasonal depression. So that was my struggle with being in the winter for 9 months. So now that I am aware of that and I was able to make the decision to move somewhere that has more of those seasons, it has really helped that seasonal depression. And just being aware of it and being able to take the actions to bring balance to that seasonal stuff that comes up. So like that depression stuff, that's kapha, that's that earthy grounded stuff that is just when it's elevated, you experience that depression. So I know now in winter what I need to do because I have high kapha, I need to move. So VFit is a huge part of that. And I know I need to move almost every day to get that fire in me going. So it breaks up that earthy kapha a little bit more. Did that answer that?
Thank you. Yeah, that helps a lot. It's like I got the information, but I wanted to hear how it practically you experienced it in your life. So thank you.
Yeah, that was a big one, but there's just many ways as well. As I did an Ayurveda cleanse in the fall, which was khichdi, and that's another recipe that's very cleansing and detoxifying. I did that for a few days in the fall. And that was just very eye-opening for me as far as my health and what I needed to do and the other ways I needed to bring in more wellness and balance. So there's lots of different avenues of the Ayurveda, and I'm always learning new things. And there's just so much out there around it. Season of life. Yes, totally, Blair. And then, yes, Joyful Belly is a website. Yeah, and you have the Ayurveda quiz there, the dosha quiz there, but you also have tons of recipes on that website according to your dosha. So you can kind of look at that once you do get your dosha and get an idea of that. And then you can go to different recipes on how to balance that out.
Awesome, Lindsay. Well, thank you so much. And as Lindsay shared, oh, you guys raised the roof. Oh, you guys are so cute. Lindsay is her workshop next month for the members who are in Connect. She's getting into the seasonality and another layer of this. And she is available for a 6 series and all of her yoga and her dance classes and her stretch classes and her strength classes. And if you don't get her live, do it on demand. You're amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. You're such a blessing to the team, and I'm not going to cry, but I've been crying all week, so I might just cry a little bit. That was beautiful. So thank you so much. Lauren, you weren't here in the beginning. Do you want to say something quick and then we'll peace out?
I'm headed out to peace and power real quick. But...
No, you have to. I'm going to unmute you.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Lindsay. You're the best.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you guys are so funny. No, that was fabulous. I know she just left, but I think we need to have her back because that was amazing. And I have so many more questions. So, and I'm all stuffed up. So now I want to know how to fix that. I'm sure maybe she has an answer to fix up my stuffy nose. All right. Thanks everyone for coming today. So good. It was fun to have a special guest and let you all experience someone else other than just Maria and I this month. And we'll see you back next month with another special guest. So
peppermint oil.
Yes.
Peppermint essential oil.
Ah.